Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Israel Doctrine School Hangout. I'm your host, Carl Lambert, and you have now entered into our Hangout. Welcome. We got the brother MIKHA in Israel over here. Me and him had the conversation about the topic of the term Hebrew Israelite before. I just had a discussion last night with a brother about the term. I don't know if you got the YouTube on. I just talked to a brother last night about the term. And since this is like one of the first persons that I ever went at me about the term, we just gonna have a little small conversation, reminisce about the past and how we done got over that, and how we both still hold our positions, but yet, you know, as things do, you just gotta respect other people, viewpoint on things, So with that said, I'm gonna give him the flow. Let him, explain.
Yeah. Yeah, grace and peace, everybody. Shalom, shalom. Thanks for having me on, bro. Yeah, basically, like you said, it's a long history in it, in our past, like a lot of people in our past, we had our differences, and at one time it was ugly. You know what I'm saying? We just keep it 100. Most people know we didn't mess with each other for some years, because of basically a couple fallouts we had. But the crazy thing about it may seem real petty to some people, but it like you said, it was kind of at one point it was based around the term Hebrew Israelite. And we had fell out over it because that's when you was first really making it known that you was adamant about not being classified as a Hebrew Israelite. Like other brothers would, address you as such, you would get offended. And I didn't understand it. I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, whether people knew or not, we was taught by the same teachers and sister teachers. So I didn't get it. I'm like, they claim we Hebrew Israelites, but then you kind of broke down why. And it was like, okay, well, although when you break it down, it makes sense from what you're saying. But I just like, nah, well, just because, the outside world might put a certain black eye on Hebrew Israelite because of the actions of certain Israelites, I'm not about to disregard it, because I look at it more as a heritage thing. And, I always felt I could prove it. I didn't come at it the right way at the time, because like I say, it was some friction between us. So it kind of, turned into something else. But over the years, when we put it to rest or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like the book ordered us to do, and our people that respect both of us from both sides told us to do it. We put it aside and all our little differences. It was like, well, I know how he stand on that, so, and he know how I stand on that. So when we do come together for whatever occasions, we don't even deal with it. Normally, we don't even bring that up, because we know both sides ain't moving on it, basically. Ain't either side gonna move on it. And so yeah, I was checking out your debate that you had. I missed the original debate you had with the brother from, I guess.
It was just a conversation. They wanted to debate. He wanted to argue. Arguing debate could be the same, but it was just a little argument.
Well, when I was looking at y'all discussion last night, and you was recapping it, for those in the audience who don't have 100% understanding the recap, basically he was playing it and he was narrating throughout it. And so we were all on the live watching it. And as I was watching it, I'm like, I don't even want to comment on this, because you even said live, like even the brother that's in the chat talking about me, we had a history with this. But I kind of even got a better understanding now than I had back then. So when I was listening to it, both of y'all made valid points. But I made the comment, and I know you caught it, I made the comment that both of y'all making valid points, but y'all both off a little bit. That's what I said. And so, you know, that's when you just hit me up and was like, man, you want to come on here and talk about that? You know, just brotherly talk about it. All right, it's cool. I ain't doing nothing for the next hour. We can do that. So that's where we at.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, he can bear witness to the fact all of that discourse I done had with him and other brothers in the past, talking about Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of them was Hebrews, Ishmael, you know, Esau, Hebrews, Keturah, other children of Abraham, and things of that nature. That's an old conversation. Genealogy from Seth on down. Like I said, I got a family tree map that I can show you every branch on the tree, pretty much, until it stopped giving branches, you know, giving genealogy of certain people. It just stopped talking about biblical characters at all, you know, the ones that's in the literature. So that's not even a thing. As I was trying to get the brother just to admit that at the end of the day, a byword is something that you call that is not your proper whatever, you know, title, name, or whatever. And he just didn't want to admit that God never called us Hebrew Israelites. And just like I tell people, because it's been brought up to me, when I say I'm a biblical Hebrew Israelite to some people, because that's what they keep calling me. Well, I said, well, I'm a biblical one. But that was when I was trying to sanitize the name. I dropped the Hebrew again and just went with Israelite, biblical Israelite. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Hold on. Don't you tell them history on it. A lot of people don't know that you trying to compromise. So tell them about that.
Well, 1 second. That's when I was talking to Brother Boo, and he was like, well, you should sanitize the name. You know, just like Christianity needs to be sanitized and stuff due to the fact that, you know, people take these names and terms and stuff, and then they bastardize them or make them terroristic or whatever because of their lacking of understanding and stuff. So, I mean, when the elder said that, I was like, yeah, let me see if I can sanitize it. But then I was like, nah, that's too much work. It's too much work. It's something that I ain't trying to do. You know what I'm saying? I'll leave that for him or somebody else. You know, it's not a job that I choose to take on. Somebody got to do it if it's to be done, though. And me, myself, I was like, nah, I can't sanitize. I'm a bastard. I'm gonna make it ugly. You know what I'm saying? Until people don't deal with it. That's all. That was my little mindset after I tried it for like a day or two.
Okay, well, I think I closed on my windows. Okay, I was wondering why that feedback. All right, well, since we just having a regular old discourse, then, well, could I ask you, like you said, you considered it for a moment to sanitize the term Hebrew Israelite after the council of your elders, but you said, nah, it was just too far, you couldn't deal with it. So with that same token, can I ask you, do you feel that same way about the term Christian? Because we know the term Christian now is associated with idolatry, wickedness, oppression, but we know biblically the first Christians was Israelites.
Well, you know, that's what I kicked. That Acts 11, or I believe it's Acts 11. I can't remember right off the spot no more. I ain't talked about it in a minute. You know, I've been on another subject. But yeah, the first to be called Christians was the Israelites that follow Christ. So at the end of the day, I've been trying to do my best to sanitize and say that, like I said to that brother, people will kick against Christianity, but it's actually in the Bible. Whether if it's singular, plural, or compound, conjoined, which it ain't none of that. You know what I'm saying? It's in the Bible. But people will try to act like it's the devil. It's the most wickedest thing there is. But another term that ain't in there because they want to deal with language, they want to deal with culture and heritage and traditions of men and stuff. they'll fight you to death on it, you know.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let's stay on that path. Okay, we got our first objection. You ready?
You know me, I stay ready. It's just a convo.
Yeah,
I talk all day.
Yeah, it's love, bro.
Yeah, it's love, bro.
Okay. To be fair, it's doing the echo thing again, Carl. I think you got to mute. Okay, to be fair and balanced, Christianity is not in the Bible anywhere. Christian is. And the reason I make that clear is because I'm even starting to say and make it known amongst my, and I'm going to use the term that I'm comfortable with, my Hebrew Israelite brothers or my Israelite brothers from any of the camps here in Chicago, that somebody had asked me one day, why did I, well, this wasn't one of the brothers from the camp, though. This was a so-called Christian, Sunday Christian or whatever, modern day Christian, if you want to use that term. Asked me, why would I make a series called Christianity and Sanity, but then turn around and they've heard me talking with other Israelites and I've said, I am a Christian. And I had to explain to him, when you talk, it's like when you talking amongst other people who know what you know, you don't have to be so technical with your language. You see what I'm saying? Because we all know what we mean. So when I say Christian, I'm talking about what you, like you said, a biblical Christian, according to the 3 times that is named in the New Testament. So that would be a follower of the Messiah, a follower of Christ, Messianic, whatever you want to call it. That's the term Christian that I was referring to. When I made the little 2-part episode called Christianity Insanity, I am talking about a system. Christianity is not the same as being Christianity is a system that's already set up from Rome. So I am not a part of it.
So now, one sec, I got to stop you. So did you ask me Christian or Christianity? Because they so close together. I don't know if you put the entity on it or not.
Yeah, no, I asked you about Christian, but you said the word Christianity while you was describing it. So I was just saying it's a difference between the two. But I asked you about Christian.
Well, I just do that to deal with the literary aspect that, like Christianity and Christendom and all of these other terms, like you said, is not actually in the book, but it describes, as you say, the system. The system was really supposed to be an Israelite system and thing. And if the whole nation was to turn Christian under the disciples, then they all would have been following the Israelites, showing the sojourning law to commonwealth and being grafted in to the Christian nation or Christianity or Christendom, the terms they're using, you know what I'm saying? But yes, the word Christian is the only thing you find in the book. The suffixes that's added, you know, to put whatever it is when you add them. I'm not trying to deal with the grammatical. I never really, you know, I don't try to deal with the grammatical stuff unless I need to. But, you know, that's just what it is, you know, that Christ's system is the ruling system. It's a corruption of that system running now, because the harlot who claims to be the wife, who claims to be the bride, or claims to be, you know, our mother, is not that. She's running around doing what she ain't supposed to be doing, whoring spiritually and otherwise. And the real mother of, you know, the civilization, the civilization, I can't even get it out. Say it for me. I can't get it out of my mouth. Civilization that's to come, you know what I'm saying, is really New Jerusalem, you know, after Christ, after the Israelites that started in Jerusalem, and the gospel went out from there, you know. So
Okay, cool. Well, I I can't disagree with nothing you just said. We ain't here to disagree. We just here to bounce off each other and see where it take it, just for the edification of the audience. With that being said, when I was listening to y'all discussion last night, where it got interesting was that both of y'all, again, made some good points. Now, where the brother was off at through the door, and a lot of brothers say this, I hear people say,
well, let me get the bad news first. What was his good point? Since you said he had some good points, you know, I will argue that, but I just want.
Okay, well, if I get into his good point actually connects to why I still why I go by the term Hebrew Israelite. So I would have to get into a whole thing. So how long you gonna give me? Because I actually can go straight to it and why this is my understanding.
I mean, do your thing. I ain't got no but time.
Okay, cool. All right, let me say this then. All right, when he made the term that all right, you said you want me to deal with that part first. Well, I gotta say this part first to run into that part. When he said that we're a Hebrew because of the language, and a lot of brothers say that. And you brought up a good point when you said, well, what about Spanish people? You know, you brought up all of these other people. So basically, if I don't speak Hebrew, am I any less of a Hebrew? No, not at all. And so that's where, you know, he was off with the language, because like you was coming more from the Hebrew coming from Abraham's standpoint, and he was coming more from Hebrew being the language standpoint. Whereas I can show right now that if I say I'm a Hebrew Israelite, now not even dealing with who came up with the origin of it, because where you was correct at is if you want to be technical, yeah, it's a man-made term. It's not a compound. Let's make that clear. It's not where you've always been corrected. It's not a compound word in the Bible. You do not see that word connected without something in the middle of it. We know what Paul said, they're Hebrew, so am I, they're Israelites, so am I. Remember, I came at you with that when we first was into it. But you said, well, show it to me together. And I couldn't do that. But what I will say is why I say the brother was right is when he was saying that basically you still a Hebrew. It don't take away from you being a Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? Although he tried to make the argument that it's dealing with the language. So I didn't really get that point. And so I would have to go here real quick, right? Okay, so we're gonna start from the beginning real quick. This ain't gonna take long. Now, we know that Abraham was called Abraham the Hebrew. But if you look at the story, the first question you got to ask yourself is, why would he even be called Abraham the Hebrew if he was the first one? It's like he was already being classified from a certain group. And I know you already aware with Eber, but just for viewers' sake, I'm going to go there. So if you go to Genesis chapter 10, when it's reading off the sons of Shem, it says, Genesis chapter 10, verse 21, it says, unto Shem also the father of all the children of Eber, the father of all the children of Eber. So Eber already being put emphasis on to pay attention to. Just like when you look back for the flood thing, when it talk about my name was called, well, what it say? My name was great amongst what was his name? I can't think his name. I have to forgive me, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, yeah, so in the 21, it says, father of all the children of Eber. Eber, and in some translations, it actually says Heber, Heber, which is the same thing. It say the brother of Japheth, the elder, even to him were children born. And then if you skip down again to verse 25, this is the only place where you see this too, when they run off the lineages, where they keep calling this same person's name. It says, and unto Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. And Joktan begat Alamudad and Shelphah and Hazarimaveth and Jerah, and then it goes on and on and on. Now, if you follow that same lineage, you will see people like Ibar and things like that. And these is other terms for even what you call the ancient Hebrew language. If they don't call it Hebrew, They say Abarieth or Ibrith or, you know, things of that nature. So we see it's dealing with a specific people, not just the tongue. So the origin has already been set. And so when you get to looking at it, you go to, let's go to Exodus chapter 2, right? So we're gonna go to Exodus chapter 2. And I know you already touched on this about you already know the ancients was called Hebrew or whatever, because I heard your argument last night. You saying, but that was the days of old. So not educating you on this at all. I'm just making it clear on why I look at this a totally different way. Exodus chapter 2 and verse 13, right? Now the argument can be made about, we all know, technically, anybody that comes out of Abraham. Now I just showed you it started with Eber, but Abraham is the one who got basically the notoriety for it. He was the one, because he's the father of the faith. So Abraham is the one who really made the term Hebrew synonymous with us. Abraham, right? Now watch this. When you go to Exodus chapter 2 and look at this, we're going to read verse 13. It say, in the name of, hold on, let me see. I'm in Genesis, my bad. Exodus chapter 2. Here we go, right here. Exodus 2 and 13, it says, and when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together and said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? We know prince is synonymous with Israel also, because we know prince of power with man and God. Intendest thou to kill me as thou killedest the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. Now, the reason I brought this up is because it says 2 Hebrews strove together. So we know when you read earlier, it also tell you that an Egyptian was smiting a Hebrew. Moses sent that, he reacted, he killed the Egyptian. So this wasn't dealing with no language. He was smiting a Hebrew, which would be an Israelite. We know he didn't do this for no Hebrew Edomite or no Hebrew Ishmaelite. He was specifically dealing with his people. So this is why I say that Hebrew is literally dealing with one's origin. And just to bag it up further, let's go to Exodus chapter 7. So if you go to Exodus chapter 7, Acts chapter 7, we can go straight to verse 16. It says, and thou shalt say unto him, the Lord God of the Hebrews have sent me unto thee, saying, let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness, and behold, hereunto thou wouldest not hear. So we got Moses knowing his people is a Hebrew. And we know that these Hebrews wasn't no Hebrew Ishmaelites or no Hebrew Edomites, but they was his people, the Israelites. The same one over 5 chapters later, God said he is the God of these Hebrew people and them his people. So this is why when you go down further in the New Testament, why Paul said what he said. So I'm going to just hit a couple more spots. You said I got as long as I want. So just for the edification of the people, then you can break it down when I'm through. I want to go to 1 Samuel, right? Let's go to 1 Samuel. And because I'm trying to get everybody an understanding on, if when I say Hebrew Israelite, I'm literally dealing with my pedigree. That's what I'm dealing with, my pedigree. And so you got 1 Samuel chapter 13. And we could just read one spot, verse 3. Y'all go when y'all get a chance, read the whole story to get understanding what's going on. But 1 Samuel 13:3, and it says, and Jonathan smote the garrison of the Philistines that was in Geba. And the Philistines heard of it, and Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, let the Hebrews hear. So during this time, when they was getting into it with the Philistines, he didn't say, let the Israelites hear it. He didn't say, let Ishmael and Edom hear it, but he just classified them as, let the Hebrews hear it. But we know from reading the chapters before and after, he was only talking to the Israelites because that's the only people that was there. So at this time, this term is still known amongst the people of origin that we are them Hebrews. We was them Hebrews when we was in our first captivity, and the development as a people, we was Hebrews. So he said, man, let the Hebrews hear. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't talking about the other sons of Abraham. He was only talking about the promised seed, and he called them the Hebrews. So let me go to, I only got 2 more spots, bro. Just 2 more spots, bear with me. So let me go to now, let's take you to the New Testament and prove that this is literally, if someone was to say, like myself, I am a Hebrew Israelite, although I might have cut out middle parts and just put the 2 words together myself, which is not biblical in itself, but with understanding, someone would know that I'm talking about my pedigree and my origins. We go to, excuse me, Acts chapter 6. Now, I saw y'all go to Acts chapter 6 last night, but what was tripped out, you know, y'all went to Acts chapter 6, but I was trying to say in the thing, I was like, man, you can stay right in Acts and go to verse 20 something, and it'll tell you, or chapter 20, I think it's 21 or 26, and it lets you know exactly who he was talking to. He wasn't talking to no Hebrew Ishmaelites, because you and the brother had that conversation. Was he talking to Ishmael, Edom, or whatever? No, he was specifically talking to the Israelites. And we can see it right here. Acts chapter 6, and in Acts chapter 6, this is verse 1. It says, and in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration. Now, what's funny is, it's letting you know too that these Grecians wasn't no Israelites. These Grecians was Greeks. And it did the separation, he said, and he was talking about the Hebrews. So the Hebrews, even in the New Testament, was known the same way they was in the Old Testament. They was Hebrews, the Israelites. And my last point, we all know 2 Corinthians 11 and 22 is they Hebrews, so am I, they Israelites, so am I. But the reason Paul was saying that, you know, he was giving out his pedigree. But to further show it with the understanding that we just read is this last final point. If you go to Hebrews chapter 11, this like the true 100 edification that when one says Hebrew, I'm a Hebrew, you're dealing with your pedigree all the way from the beginning. So when you go to Hebrews chapter 11, this is verse 24. This is what it says. It says, by faith Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a reason. Now, those people of God, we already know was the same one that he caught getting beat and he submitted over him. The same one that he said to God, the Hebrews. So we know that this is exactly talking about, of course, the Hebrew Israelites. But that actually wasn't where I was trying to go, but I'm glad I snuck that in there. But my last point, oh, here go my last point. Philippians chapter 3. This is what I meant. My fault, I kind of crossed myself, but that's cool. I'm glad I threw that in there, but that ain't had nothing to do with it. Philippians chapter 3, verse, let me see. Here you go, verse 5. It says, okay, here we go. I'll start at verse 3. It says, for we are the circumcision which worship God in the spirit and rejoice in Christ Jesus and have no confidence in the flesh, right? It say, though I might also have confidence in the flesh, if any other man thinketh that he have whereof he might trust in the flesh, I more. And this is when he said, he gonna boast in the flesh. Let you know I'm the real deal. Verse 5, circumcised in the 8th day. Now, let me stop right there. This is a point that I know that you are adamant about. You always make clear that you're with Israelite nationalism. And I'm with you on that. But when we say we're nationalists, then we have to break down an understanding of what a nation is. And you know it. With a nation, you have to have a land of origin, a tongue of origin, a military government flag, so on and so forth. And also spiritual customs or religion. So he starts it off with our custom and religion. He says, circumcise the 8th day. And then he says, of the stock of Israel. So he let you know I'm an Israelite. That's his nationality. Now watch the deepness of the components he gonna get into. Of the tribe of Benjamin. So not only did he give you the customs or the religion of the nation, he gave you the bloodline of the nation, which is Israel. And then he gave you the specific tribe of the nation, which is Benjamin. And then he says, a Hebrew of Hebrews, as touching the law and the Pharisee. Now stop right there. When someone says, I am a Hebrew of Hebrews, you got like 3 understandings of that. One is saying I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews, they would say he's trying to say a spiritual point, that he's spiritually exalting himself over other Hebrews. I don't roll with that. Based on what we was just reading, Hebrew of Hebrews can also denote that one is pure blood, meaning my mother is a Hebrew and my father is a Hebrew. That's another thing that you can get into. And the other one was let me see, if you Hebrew or Hebrews, it would mean I can't remember. Oh, Hebrew of Hebrews can also mean that he's differentiating from being, like you said, a Hebrew Ishmaelite or a Hebrew Edomite. No, he a Hebrew of Hebrews, which would make him a Hebrew Israelite because he's dealing with his pedigree. That's why he says Hebrew Hebrews. So he letting you know, ain't no tank. This thing go all the way back to Abraham, Eva, and all that. So I said all.
Or a man amongst men. A man amongst men.
Yeah, you could. In the end of the day, yeah, in the end of the day. But as you see in that verse 5, though, he was definitely dealing with pedigree and origin, because that's why he said he's going into the flesh on that one, straight in the flesh. And that's why he went from Israel, which would be Jacob, turned to Israel, to the tribe, which would be his sons, back unto Hebrew, which would have been the origin of them all. And that's why if I say I'm a Hebrew Israelite, I'm literally doing it based off the scriptures and the history that's my pedigree. So I was just making that claim for you. It ain't no claim for.
Did you mute yourself? Hello?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we just getting a breakup on this thing.
Yeah, I'm muted.
Oh, okay. Well, see, like I said, he didn't had an opportunity to deal with this longer than most. So he say pedigree now. That's an upgrade. See, that's what you need. You need an upgrade. You need to be able to deal with this and try to make sure when you speak on it, you speak on it with soundness, with understanding of what you're saying, how you saying it, why you saying it. And pedigree is a good one. I got to thumb that one up. I still ain't trying to roll with it, but I got to thumb it up that it's an improvement from what I used to hear back in the days. Hallelujah. So now, hallelujah, as he say, he boasting after the flesh. Now, after the spirit, are you an Israelite? Truly. Not because you're a son of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. See, that's after the flesh. People thinking after the flesh. But God's name is Israel, and his children take on his name. That's why he called a nation. And them people that came out, that won all of the physical seed of Jacob, Israelites. When you talk about the wilderness and you don't point out that it's a mixed multitude, and you say it was Israel in the wilderness, but it was a mixed multitude of Hamites right there amongst them, then you have a problem. That's why I interjected that on him in the first discourse we had on his channel. And he said, well, I don't want to deal with that. I was like, that's cool. We don't have to deal with it, but I'm injecting it because that's a part of my conversation. A mixed multitude of believers is a discourse that a lot of people don't have. It's a conversation that people don't deal with. But this is when you get into the actual technicality of what Israelites like to deal with, especially Hebrew Israelites, and he deal with it because, like I said, the first video I watched on this channel was the Israelite foreigner stuff, where people try to make the argument. Even ISUPK wanted to make the argument the other night. That's why they went to the Hellenized stuff and everything. I told you this is an everyday conversation when you get around, you know, people that hold that premise, whether if it's One West or a version of that One West doctrine, that Israelite foreigners is the New Testament thing. So now let's just deal with it. When you have strangers sojourning with Israel, and they can take on the national identity and be called Israel or Israelite, then we got a problem now, and pedigree would come in, because you will say, well, I'm a Hebrew, but yet spiritually I follow Israel, so therefore I'm Israel. I'm a son or daughter of Israel, and not talking about the physical Hebrew whose name was changed to Israel, but God himself, who named the physical Hebrew, received the physical Hebrew by the name of Jacob. This is a conversation that most won't have. So now, because we didn't have it before, people, can you have a Gentile Israelite? His pedigree is that of Japhet, and he's a Gentile, but yet when he come into the national origins and become a part of Israel, and just like one homeborn there and receive the national name or identity as Israel, can you have a Gentile Israelite? Can you have a Ishmaelite Israelite? Can you have a Edomite Israelite? Because now you're doing is dealing with, well, physically you of this genealogy, but now that you have entered into God's family and received the adopted name, Israel, we dealing with pedigree. So that's the same thing with the Hebrew. When you say Hebrew, then it takes you to Ishmaelite, saying that he's a Hebrew, but his father was Ishmael. He's a Hebrew, but his father was Esau. Ishmaelite. I mean, Edomite, right? And then his father is Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, which give him the term Israelite for his national identity. So Hebrews of all type of fashion, Israelites of all type of fashions. That's all we dealing with now. But people don't want to get into that. So now let's just look at it once again. When these strangers sojourn with Israel and can receive the national identity or term Israel, adopted name, when we sojourn with other people and become Hellenized or something, then can we become Ethnos or Goyams or another nation because we sojourning with them? Because this is the argument that people from that mindset make, that we can become Hellenized or whatever other nized there is by taking on the customs and the ways of another nation. So therefore we take on their national name. That's what an Israelite foreigner being a Gentile is. An Israelite taking on the customs and the ways of the Gentile and becoming Hellenized, and now they're a Gentile. You see how the doctrine is so dangerous that people not looking at all aspects of it. They're not looking at any other aspects of what they're talking about. They're not even reasoning with it. So can you have a Gentile Israelite now? Just like you could have a Hebrew Israelite? Because Israelite is a whole nother thing. It's a spiritual thing. It's not after the flesh. It's a God thing to be Israel. Because he is Israel, the first and only till he passed the name on. He is Israel. And when you become God, you become Israel. To be a son of God is to be just like your father, God. So now what we talking about, all of us was born to be children of God and to be Israel. Just to step the conversation up a little bit, if y'all can follow it. Now we really finna get into the nits and bolts of this conversation. You still with us? Because that's what it is pedigree. But the pedigree of physical people But to be an Israelite is a spiritual pedigree that goes beyond physical. So when you boast after the flesh and you got a fleshly carnal mind state, then that's what it is. See, we supposed to transcend.
Yeah, I'm here.
Being a Hebrew. Yeah, I'm here. We supposed to transcend from being a Hebrew into an Israelite. That's what the Lord God was showing when he said, I'm the God of the Hebrews. Then he just, like I said, he tossed that down like he was gang banging and said, well, I'm throwing up Israel now. And he don't say Hebrew no more. But the carnal people, they recognize Abraham, and Abraham is the father of the faithful, and Abraham went down to Egypt. That's why they made sure when they mentioned Hebrew, they steady sticking to Abraham, just like the Samaritan woman. She even recognized Jacob as her father, but Jacob is not her father. So when people say the fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that's not just the physical. I mean, that's not just the physical fathers of the children of Israel through the progenitor, the 12, but they're also the fathers of other nations, just like the Samaritan woman tried to say our father Jacob, because they recognize these as the spiritual fathers, in which you should call no man your spiritual father on earth. But this is how they recognizing their spiritual genealogy to get them to become Israel, the seed of Abraham after the faith, which you can't call Hebrews or Hebrew Israelites, because their pedigree is not of a Hebrew, unless it's.
Okay, you want me to say something?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to time in on it, I mean, I can go on about it. You want to time in?
Okay, I mean, see, yeah, you tricked me. Because you knew I was ready for the Hebrew Israelite thing. So now you want to get deep. You want to get super deep.
No, that's where it was gonna go, because see, once you leave the carnal mind, or the I'm a Hebrew or I'm an Israelite after the flesh, and you get into the spiritual aspect of it, you can understand once again why you would want to drop Hebrew. But even Paul, when he say he's boasting after the flesh and stuff, then he's going back to genealogy and going back to pedigree. And he's saying, as you say, look, you a Hebrew? When it come to Hebrews, my name ringing right up there with any Hebrew you can bring up. I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews. I'm one of the best. I'm top notch. My pedigree, my mother, my father, circumcised, this, that. I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews. When you talk about Hebrews, you're gonna talk about me.
Yeah, and it's awesome. But let's keep it real too, though. I see where you're going with this, but we gotta keep in mind that even you make the argument that being an Israelite, so we're just going to, like we say, the pedigree, the origins, not or why Hebrew is I wouldn't say it's as important as Israel, but it's very important. You can't be an Israelite without being a Hebrew. That's what I'm saying.
After the flesh.
Okay, after the flesh.
Because after the spirit,
hold up.
Will the other nations receive the term Israel
let me finish.
to their identity?
Okay, let me finish, ID. Even you yourself are quick. Now, you know you've become famous for saying salvation is for all nations, right? But even you will check a Gentile or another nation that tries to usurp the what? Natural seed. The flesh again. Because if we the priests.
Yeah, because of the protocol.
Go ahead.
Because of the protocol.
Okay.
You can't break the order of the protocol.
Okay, cool. I'm with you. So what is their order based off of? The flesh, right?
Yeah, the firstborn. And I would say the Hamites is the secondborn, which will bring in the Shemitic seed, which is Israel, is the firstborn. Then the Hamitic seed is the secondborn, and the Japhetic seed will be the thirdborn. There's three sons of Noah, and there's three base nationalities that turned into other nationalities from that. So if we saying that Israel is the firstborn, that's bringing the first Semitic born into the household of God. And then the Hamitic born that came out, the mixed multitude, would be the second born of God. And the Japhetic seeds that start to get revelation and faith will be the third born. It's three borns, I would say, in the household of God: Semitic, Hamitic, and Japhetic.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, this the first for everybody listening. This is the first time me and Israel has ever had this conversation. So he's dropping this on me brand new, and that's a very interesting standpoint. Now, okay, well, so you want to get deep, then let's take it there. Let's get deep. Now, you said, okay, from the understanding you did the Ham, Shem, and Japheth. We know that we've always had the understanding that basically each son has had his time to rule the earth. You agree on that, right? We in it, right? Right? Okay, cool. Okay. Now, with that being said, I still don't see nowhere where, well, although I agree with you, why would God say Israel is my firstborn if there's not going to be a second, third, fourth? He would just say my only born. So we all know firstborn, which a lot of people try to dodge that, is the fact that we the firstborn because the first gets the inheritance. There will be others born after us, but up until this point, we are the only ones born. Israel are the only ones born. Now, what the other nations can do is latch onto us, and when those that latch onto us becomes in the covenant, which is still our covenant, it's not their covenant. So they coming into the covenant. It's just like the stranger that come into your gates. When he come in your house, he got to live by your rules. On the Sabbath day, look, dude, you ain't gonna be watching TV and all that up in here. I don't know how you did it in Greece or in Rome, but up in here, you're gonna do that. Hey, look, dude, you ain't bringing no pig up in here. I don't know how you did it in Greece, Rome, or Nigeria, but in here, you're gonna eat food. So they have grafted themselves or latched themselves to Israel, but it's still under the guise of that firstborn, which is Israel. Now, hold on, let me say this before you, because I know you got something to come with on that, but I'm going to bag it up with a scripture. And this is what I mean. Let's go to Ezekiel 47. Ezekiel 47. We're going to let the prophet do that thing. Ezekiel chapter 47. This is what it says. Now, this is with us going back to the kingdom, out the wilderness, all that type of stuff. Ezekiel 47. Let's look at what it says. I'm going to start at verse 21. It says, so shall ye divide this land unto you according to the tribes of Israel, the firstborn. Now watch this. And it shall come to pass that ye shall divide it by lot for an inheritance unto you, and to the strangers that sojourn among you. Now, we know those strangers ain't Israelites because he already talked about the 12 tribes. So that includes Ephraim and the lost tribes. They already still at 12. So now you got these strangers that we know as other nations, right? There ain't no way nobody can bounce up out of that. It says that sojourn among you. They're sojourners. That's where they would be now if they got taught by us. It says, which shall begot children among you. So they're going to have kids and their own little houses and stuff in your state. Because see, we got to look at the literalness of this. When we were in Israel in our miniature version of the kingdom, you know, like Solomon's kingdom was a microcosm for Christ's kingdom. I know you know that. And what did he do? He had people from all nations coming to him and learning knowledge from him, because that was the prophecy or the promise that God gave us in Deuteronomy when he said that we would be, you know, basically a light and wisdom to the other nations. They'll look and say, oh, this is a wise people. Solomon was a microcosm of what's going to happen in Christ's kingdom, right? So these strangers, and you got to remember, when we had our 11 states, because remember, Levi's state, he don't have his own. He broke up amongst the 11. When we had them, we had strangers that lived in our land. I don't know why people think we was in a bubble. Don't let no heathens live in here. No, it didn't work like that. You could come live here because we even had laws where you can get them pork and all kind of stuff if they wasn't in your covenant. If they was in the covenant, then they had to be treated just like the house or the land, right? So watch this. Sojourn among you, which shall begot children among you, and they shall be unto you as born in the country among the children of Israel. They shall have inheritance with you among the tribes of Israel. So that's where they at right now. They're sojourners, but the firstborn is still the firstborn. The second ain't came yet. Do you agree? Hello?
I will have to say that even with Abraham going down in Egypt and they finding out he was a Hebrew and keeping that term going and going into even Moses' time, he was showing the Hamitic, even the Egyptians, that you can be born also into this. And when the mixed multitude came out, that's when they became the second born. Right there, when Israel was being born as a nation, there was two different fashions there. Hebrews after the flesh and Egyptians, whatever type of Hamites that was down in Egypt at the time, they came out. And when you go to Deuteronomy, what's that, 29, he show you that them strangers, the water boys, you know, the ones that hew water and all of that, that they was a part of that same covenant and everything taking place then. That's why I said a Hamitic is second born, because for those that understand, quote unquote, like Black History Month and dealing with it, Israel was a dark nation and they looked like the Egyptians, which was a dark nation, black or whatever you want to call it. And God came to basically the darker nations before it even a Gentile or European or somebody of Caucasian or white descent had anything to do with Israel and stuff. It was Israel and there was the Hamites. This is even when you see he say Egypt is my people. He say that. He put them right on the slab with Israel. They my people. So that's why I say out of the three sons, he brought a Shemitic nation in first, and all the other Shemitic nations are to follow up behind them after the protocol, Israel. Then he brought Hamitic nation in for his Egypt and brought them all in. Then he let Jesus and all of them deal with the Romans, giving them Gentiles or them Romans access to salvation and bringing them in third. So that's Shem, Ham, and Japhet, and for us being born into the family of God. That's my little thing. That's what, you know, that's how I done reasoned it over the years. As you say, I don't talk about it that much, but if we're gonna talk a little deep here, which I believe you capable of handling it, and we don't have no malice with each other, then I drop these type of things to open up the pineal gland of my brothers and sisters.
Well, look. Yeah, it's definitely with no. This should be for edification. I wish Israelites could do this more without people getting mad and calling each other names and all that, because they understanding is different. But I gotta say, now you went deep, but based on the scriptures, you can't find that written in here as far as the second born and all that. Now, what helps what you're saying is what I read, which is sojourner. So you still got to call them sojourners, Israel. I mean, you can't, unless you can show me somewhere where they called second born, third born at this point.
Nah, it's just reason. It's just reason. This is number one. Like I said, if you come down to saying Israel, everybody in the wilderness was Israel. And it wasn't just the physical seed of Jacob. That's just it. Because if you don't point out that it was a mixed multitude out there, everybody will tell you that there was Israel in the wilderness. They ain't gonna say that was Israel and a stranger, because some of them don't even know that. They don't even realize that it was a mixed multitude that also came out of strangers.
Okay,
that's why
pause right there.
Pause right there. Okay.
Pause right there, so I won't lose. But that's a good point. Okay, that's it. Let's stay right there in the wilderness, right? Okay, now we know about Jethro and them seed, right? When Moses was giving out, Jethro wasn't an Israelite, right? And it was other people in the wilderness that were not Israelites. But the question is, was there, when it talks about the children of Israel in the wilderness, when they came out, we know nobody over 20 made it out. They all died or whatever. You know, Joshua and Caleb, them two was what it was set upon, like them two laws in the New Testament. God talk about. See, I don't even want to get deep on that one. Jesus talk about them two laws that they hang on. But that's another story. The Lord showed me that. But look, right now, the thing is, although it was a mixed multitude and it was Israel, even when they came out and we established our government, who was the standard set with? It wasn't set with the mixed, it was set with the natural. You look at numbers and all that, it was all off the pedigree of Israel. Yes, those people were still there having babies, but
nah, you want to say pedigree of Hebrews. You want to say pedigree of Hebrews because, like I said, when you look at it, the stranger that sojourned also was recognized as being a part of the nation of Israel because they were sojourning in that nation as we sojourning here in America, and we saying we Americans because we in this nation. So they was Israel. They was being recognized. And that's like I said, unless one really, and you know, you got those that's just New Testament only, they don't go back there and read them stories. So
right.
when you got somebody that's ignorant and don't even know that there were strangers amongst them, for as Jethro, the Egyptian wife, what the Ethiopian wife of Moses, and this, they don't even know it's strangers amongst them. But see, this the fine part about it, that when they was amongst each other having babies and stuff, and then the older generation died off, it was a mixed multitude of children. It was children that had Egyptian and Israelite in them, and this and that, from the mother side or from the father side, whichever one was an Israelite. But when they went into the land, they was just known as Israel, and there wasn't no separation, and nobody trying to figure out, was your daddy a Hebrew? Ain't nobody trying to figure that out. It's just everybody that went into that land was known as Israel, and they started the nation of Israel with a mixed multitude of individuals that was born of a mixed multitude that left up out of Egypt. That is a phenomenon for a lot of people because they don't recognize
it. Okay. Well, I hope they watching now. You know, they can see that it was definitely a mixed multitude. And you know, I've heard, man, you know, we got dubs in this thing. So, you know, I've heard all the different versions. This ain't no shot.
The flesh, we number one. That's why I tell people at the end of the day, you can never go to an Israelite and try to claim like you got superiority and they figure they the physical seed. We gonna be like Ishmael was, we gonna be like Esau was, we gonna be the physical seed that get their heritage, supposed to get it, and you gonna claim, nah, you've been disannulled and we gonna get the inheritance. And be like, hell no, nah. We the firstborn and it's ours. But see, that's still thinking after the flesh. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's that whole jealousy thing and stuff that Israel is under and people never talk about. But that was the significance of me bringing Rahab out and really dealing with that, because that's a stranger that you can see within the book of Hebrews that show that she sojourned with Israel, and she's even considered to be resurrected with Israel on the seventh trumpet, meaning she gonna get the glory, and her faith was counted just as Abraham, Enoch, Abel, and everything else. This is not dealing with the flesh. This is dealing with the faith and the belief and being born of something else, as John 1:13 that Lex be trying to steal from me say, not after flesh and blood and the will of man.
Man, here you go. They finna be on here. You on here pulling out sneak sniper rifles and stuff, right? But Yeah, I hear you, man. You know, okay. Well,
But do me a favor, cause my computer gonna mess up. I'm getting away from the sweet spot where it worked good. Go to Deuteronomy 29 and pick it up at 9.
I was just gonna
and just read now.
I was just gonna ask you to read something for me. I can read something for me. Deuteronomy 29 and what?
9. I'm just trying to get some charge to the sweet spot and get busy.
Deuteronomy 29 and 9. Keep therefore the words of this covenant. Keep therefore the words of this covenant and do them, that ye may prosper in all that ye do. You want me to keep reading? Ye stand this day, all of you, before the Lord of your God, the Lord your God, your captains of your tribes, your elders and your officers, with all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and thy stranger that is in thy camp, from Hurrah of thy wood unto the drawer of thy water. Yeah, see, I knew you was on. I had a feeling that's where you was going when you went there. Okay. I see it. But I mean, we ain't even arguing this though. But you see, he still makes a distinction between natural.
Nah, this
I hear you, bro. This breaking up bad, bro.
Things here, and we might.
We can't hear you. You're breaking up bad, bro. You need to go back where you.
It's good. It's good. It don't matter. Listen. I told you that chat so I can get in on my phone. All right, but 1 sec. I'm gonna get in on my phone. It'll work. I got to send myself a. You can go ahead and talk to I get back if you can understand it.
Okay, so yeah.
Go ahead. I get back.
Okay, cool. All right, stop talking because you sound like a bogus RoboCop or Optimus Prime. Like, give me that cube, boy. But look, right, okay. So yeah, you know, for everybody listening, he read Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 9 through 11, and it does, of course, clearly state that you got the Israelites or whatever who has the covenant, and then those who join onto it, and he mentions the strangers. And I think we not disagreeing on that. We really ain't disagreeing on too much of nothing. Now, he threw me off with the first, there being a second-born, third-born already. I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? I only see us. I only see Israel. We the only priests. We the only ones that exist right now on this planet. Now, I do agree that strangers, which I showed throughout the book, it ain't about what I feel, but the book shows that they're still there. Shows that, you know, the strangers, the sojourners can come just like they did back then. Even in our captivity, when we waking up, if you teaching, they can come. Excuse me, y'all. They can come, and but that's what that's exactly the protocol of where they gonna be at. And just to further go with what he was saying, since he went to Deuteronomy 29, 9 through 11, when you brought up earlier, you was talking about the mixed multitude. You know, we might as well just deal with it then, because when you look at let's see. I believe that's, let me look for, what's that, Exodus 10? Where is it at where it say mixed? Exodus 12. Okay, so in Exodus 12, right, you go to Exodus chapter 12. This is what it says. Exodus chapter 12, and it says that, let me read this. Exodus 12, and it says 37. It says, and the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses of Succoth about 600 on foot that were men besides children. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds and very much cattle. Now, I know there's a lot of brothers in camps who say that the mixed multitude just mean different ages of people. At first, I heard that for the first time about 6 years ago, and I was like, wow. I'm wondering, did my brothers, respectfully, did my brothers read? Now let's just skip a little bit further. We go to pardon me, let's go to Nehemiah. If you go to Nehemiah chapter 13, Nehemiah 13, let me see. You got your sword on you, Carl?
Nah, I'm trying to use Bible Gateway.
Oh man,
but see, the point I wanted you to do, I wanted you to keep reading that, because the whole thing is that's him again extending the covenant to the stranger, which means at the end of the day, when you read that Ezekiel 47, that they're gonna be in the nation of Israel. They're gonna be known as Israel. The whole world, anybody that exists in the planet after he throw everybody in the lake is Israel. They're gonna have a family name. They probably gonna have a new name or whatever. But it's like at the end of the day,
okay.
Everybody gonna be Israel, but we was Israel and supposed to be Israel first, because Jacob received the name Israel, making us the children of Israel first, showing that we the firstborn, we the children of Israel, which is the children of God. But he did it through the physical being known as Jacob, setting us on the pedestal first, because he gave him the name which passed down to us, making us the first children of Israel, because Jacob was the first one adopted by Israel, God. So it's no taking the protocol away either way it go.
Oh, well, I don't disagree with that. The key words you said is will be. It ain't will be yet. We ain't there. So I agree with that. Yeah, we ain't
even the children of Israel yet in the sense of the word, because we ain't been born again from that death.
Well, hold on. You speaking of, hold on, what you mean by that? Because we definitely under the curses of the children of Israel. We under
Jacob though. See, I would say children of Jacob. That's how you make the distinction between the children of God and the children of Jacob. Every child of Jacob is not a child of God. That's why even all of Israel is not going to be saved, in the sense all the children of the physical being known as Israel, Jacob, is not going to be saved. But all those who believe in God and accept his covenant are the children of Israel, and all of them going to be saved no matter what nation they come out of.
Well, I don't,
God, which is the children of Israel.
I agree with you that all the other people that believe on God, but where we disagreeing at, it's starting to become a disagreement, because we still are Israel. I mean, we Jacob and we Israel, because think about it. What it say? It say
all of Israel.
Hold up. It said all of Israel is not of Israel. He didn't say all of Jacob is not of Israel. So he letting you know that even Israelites have to turn to God. I see what you saying. So you know what I'm saying, but the wording, he didn't say all of Jacob ain't Israel. He said all of Israel ain't Israel. So we
thinking after the kernel when we deal with that, because then you going back, okay, we the first ones after the flesh. Okay, that's cool. We don't disagree on that. But now, even those after the flesh ain't even Abraham's seed. Yeah, I know you a Hebrew. That's what Jesus is basically saying. I know y'all Hebrews, y'all come from Abraham a lot, but you children of Satan, you ain't children of God. If you was children of God, then you would be truly Israel, but you ain't truly Israel. You a Hebrew.
So you saying a lot of these you saying a lot of us, I'm putting myself in there, although I'm dealing with the Most High, so I'm good. But a lot of us as a people are those ones that he said the children of the kingdom will be cast into utter darkness. And
I take it as children of Jacob and children of Israel. See, when people read children of Israel, they only deal with those who physically born of Jacob. No. If you take it to the higher degree and understand that children of Israel mean children of God, whose name is Israel. If you go to Daniel 9:19, he named the land and the people after him, and we surnamed after him. Then when you say you are the children of Israel, you really saying you the children of God, and it ain't got nothing to do with Jacob. It's just Jacob is the one that the covenant came down to. He passed it to the 12 patriarchs, and that's how you become the firstborn to have first access to salvation. But it's not only to you, so everybody that receive it are going to be children of Israel. Even if you say Jacob is your spiritual father, like I said, the Samaritan woman said, Jacob, our father, dug this well, and you saying you got water that don't come from this well? Give me some of that water. What you talking about, man?
Yeah.
It's going to the spiritual aspect and leaving the carnal aspect off of it, but we know the kernel deals with the fact that Jacob, being a physical man, received the spiritual name Israel first, and his children got that name before any other children or any other descendants from anybody else.
Agreed.
Yet when they was coming out of Egypt, and he said, "Bring my son out," his son had a coat of many colors in the sense of the word.
Really?
It was other nations a part of his son.
Did you really just try to do that, man? You free.
I was just doing it to have fun with people, you know. Just
that was an ultimate freestyle, man. Okay. Well, yeah, with that, I think that's established. You know, that's established. It's just the word you was saying, you know, I had to be clear, but I see what you're saying. But I also don't want to let off the hook that the mixed multitude literally by the Bible's definition meant mixed multitude, meaning other nations and mulattoes and all of that type of stuff, depending on if it ain't your father, they got a child with your mother. Hold on, let me just
look. When you read the Deuteronomy, it said to Israel, the males, then it said your wives and your children, then it said the stranger that was amongst you. If you keep reading that, Deuteronomy 29 and start at 9, if you keep reading, it'll say, you know, it said the hero of the woods and stuff, and then it say, even at that moment, I'm making this covenant with you, the stranger, I'm your God, and everybody that's not here with us today, if they come and deal with this, they can enter into this covenant. This is even for people that's not here today. These words are spoken as a witness for future generations and future believers from whatever multitude or mixed multitude of people that believe.
Most definitely. And on that note, let me just let the word edify what you're saying, right? Because we always got to get a book authority, so they can't say MIKHA said, Carl said. Let them deal with what the book say. Nehemiah chapter 13, right? If you go here in verse 3, verse 2, it says, because they met not the children of Israel with bread and with water, but hired Balaam against them, that he should curse them. Howbeit our God turned the curse into a blessing. You know, that's talking about when he was dealing with the Ammonites and all that, right? And it says, verse 3, now it came to pass when they had heard the law that they separated from Israel all the mixed multitude. So that's definitely talking about other nations. So it was other nations with us. That's not talking about old people and young people. And we can prove it if you go to Leviticus chapter 24. Leviticus, I've heard this, I've seen it, and like I said, that's just some people's understanding. But I'm like, nah, man, that ain't right. If we gonna sit down with it, let's deal with it 100, regardless of how we feel about the other nations and all that stuff. Oh, let me read it.
Hold on, one second. When you get through with 24, go to 25 and 25.
Okay. Leviticus chapter 24, verse 10. And the son of an Israelitish woman, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the children of Israel, and this son of the Israelitish woman and a man of Israel strove together in a camp. And the Israelitish woman's son blasphemed the name of the Lord and cursed. And they brought him unto Moses. And his mother's name was Shelomith, and the daughter of Dibri in the tribe of Dan. So that lets you know that that mixed multitude they was talking about, all that whole mixture. This case right here was the child born of an Israelite mama, but his daddy was an Egyptian. So technically that child was a Hamite. That child was an Egyptian. You see what I'm saying? So that wasn't talking about no Israelites. Yeah, you say go to verse 25 and what?
Chapter 25 and 25. Maybe read verse before and after for context. But this is what this is what the adversary used to show that even Israel can be strangers amongst it. Just read it if you will.
Okay, and I just want to throw in there some Hebrew on you, because if you noticed, her name was Shelomith. Yeah, Peaceth. Yeah, go ahead with that. But anyway, verse chapter 25, verse 24, Leviticus. It says, and in all the land of your possession, ye shall grant redemption for the land. If thy brother be waxing poor and have sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which is his brother's soul. That's what you wanted me to read? That's what you wanted me to read, bro?
Read on.
Okay. And if the man have none to redeem it, and himself be, oh, I see where you're going, be able to redeem it, then let him count the years of the sale thereof and restore the overplus unto the man to whom he sold it, that he may return unto his possessions. Verse 28. But if he be not able to restore it to him, then that which is sold shall remain in the hand of him that have bought it until the year of Jubilee. And into the and in the Jubilee it shall go out, and he shall return unto his possession. Verse 29. And if a man sell a dwelling house in a walled city, then he may redeem it within a whole year after it is sold. Within a full year may he redeem it. Verse 30. And if it be not redeemed within the space of a full year, then the house that is in the walled city shall be established forever to him that brought it throughout its generations. It shall not go out of the Jubilee. But the
now
house
go down to 34, 35. 35 is what I wanted. I said 25. My bad.
Yeah, I had a feeling you was going to 35. That's what I'm looking like. Okay, I got you. 30.
Yeah, I'm off the dome with it. 20 instead of 35. I wasn't looking at the book, but
But no, that's cool. They gave him a clear understanding on how we dealt with the servitude thing, especially when they talk about dealing with Hebrew. Okay, verse 34. But the field of the suburbs of their cities may not be sold, for it is their perpetual possession. And if thy brother be waxing poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. That's the point you wanted, right?
Yeah, that's when they try to say that your brother Israel was sojourners. Yeah,
but that's
that's later on. That's
right. That's when the land really. That's when the land is established. When we was in our government, you had Israelites that didn't live within the. They didn't live in the confines of the 11 states. They would live. They might move to Europe or something on their own free will. When they came, like they had to come 3 times a year to come back to Jerusalem or whatever. We had to do them just like they was one that was homeborn. But that don't take away from the strangers that we, matter of fact, on that note, but just to show both sides, to show that you always got to use context, because yes,
look, hold on. We going bad here, and we done put a lot down. Let the people meditate on it.
Okay, please, but let me read the last one. Let me just read this last one. This is the last one. Cool. Because it go right with what you just read.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out something right quick. Let me just say this, and then you can point it out and you can end us off and everything too. That
okay,
yes, you said when your brother like Joseph become a stranger unto you, then that's the case. That scripture was written with foreknowledge of the enemy that has to take place in the future when they did do that, and even to this present time, as you said. So that scripture was written with foreknowledge, not at the particular moment was that happening, because they were still in the wilderness and they had not separated and became strangers.
most definitely. Yeah, ain't no way around that. And just to show both sides of the economy, here you go. You go to 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 41, and here's what it says. And you can also find this in Chronicles too. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 41, it says, moreover, concerning a stranger that is not of thy people Israel. That is not. So it's dealing with genetics, not somebody that is of thy people Israel who moved off, but that is not of thy people Israel. It says, that is not of thy people Israel, but cometh out of a far country for thy name's sake. But they shall hear of thy great name and of thy strong hand and of thy stretched out arm, when he shall come and pray towards this house. Hear thou in heaven thy dwelling place, and do according to all that the stranger calleth to thee for, that all people of the earth, not just of the world, of the earth, may know thy name, to fear thee as do thy people Israel, or the Israelites, and that they may know that this house, the house of Israel, or well, the house of worship in that case, which would be the temple, which I have builded, is called by thy name. So yeah, you know, it ain't really no way around that though. You know what I'm saying?
Hey stuff. Man, it was a good conversation. I think it's gonna make people raise their conversation or try to figure out the level of conversation that we was having. There was a lot of stuff, you know, I didn't drop that many scriptures and stuff. You know, I want people to go dig in them and, you know, study to show themselves approved. You gave them, you know, a little open book test. You gave them, you know, the chapters and the verses a little bit. But I think it's gonna make people elevate their conversation, you know, and I'm about to roll, but I got enough juice on this Bible, on this computer for you to get a couple more Bible verses in about Rahab and a little conversation about that, if you would. Well, we would be wrong to leave this without mentioning the beautiful, lovely sister, ancestor Rahab.
Man. Here you go, man. Here you go.
Yeah, I put you in an awkward position, but go ahead.
Yeah, you trying to put me in a little crossfire right here, whatever. But you know, it is what it is, man. All my Israelite brothers know from every concept that they come from in Israel that's scattered about. They know exactly my understanding of this, and it's based on the Bible, because it definitely ain't based on my personal feelings. Because if stuff was based on my personal feelings, which I don't have to defend and get into, if you just know the type of cat I was, I wouldn't do things the way that God do it. But that's why I'm not where he at. Isaiah 55 said, your thoughts are none of my thoughts, and your ways are none of my ways. So let me say this. What you want me to deal with the Rahab thing?
Yeah, touch on it for a second. Well, 2 or 3 witnesses that everything be established. I already did witness. I think other people didn't witness or whatever, but people probably they probably ain't heard a second witness. So I'm seeing if you can try to. It shouldn't take long or whatever. You know.
Okay. Well, let me see. It's so many. I ain't gonna lie, y'all went so many places on there. I really don't. Excuse me.
Just Rahab.
Rahab. Well, she was. What is there to say about it? She wasn't no Israelite. She was a woman in Jericho. She was with those nations that we was conquering. I think we had just ran through 6 countries, 5 or something like that, killing people and slaughtering them, and they knew the business was about to come. She tried to save her family. You can go to, if you want to go to the original story for everybody that's listening, you just go to the book of Joshua. That's where it started, I believe, around Joshua, the 2nd chapter or something like that, end of the 1st chapter. And you read that, and it talks in detail all the way up to like the 6th chapter or something like that, where they keep bringing it up. And Hebrews 11 and 31 is really like something you can let's read it for ourselves. I mean, y'all read it already. I know you're referencing to the show that you had or whatever. It was a good point you made. So let's go ahead and read it. It's Hebrews chapter 11. And let me see. I believe it's around, okay, verse 30. It says, well, no, I might as well start from 1, but I'm going to skip down. But if you read this, it's naming our heroes and sheroes, if you want to say that. And it's addressed to the Hebrew nation. So when you get context and understand the book of Hebrews, it's like he's doing a history recap to his people, to the Israelites. He's doing a history recap so they can remember where they came from. And it just so happens a stranger is threw up in here. It says, verse 1, now faith is a substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. For by these the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of these things which do. And then he goes into Abel. Now let's skip down to verse and deal with Rahab. If you get to verse 30, it says, by faith the walls of Jericho fell down. Y'all know that's the name of my ministry. Y'all check it out, the group, Walls of Jericho Have Fallen. By faith the walls of Jericho fell down after they passed about 7 days. You know, 7 represents complete too. Another story. Verse 31. By faith the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not, when she had received the spies with peace. So she ain't died with the people of her nation that got slaughtered and those that believe not. So that means that the people in that nation had a chance to believe that the Israelites was coming and the God of the Hebrews at that time, or the God of Israel, was coming to do damage. They didn't believe it. So they didn't believe nothing about him. She did. So there's where she slides up in here. Verse 32. And what shall I more say? For the time would fail me to tell of Jeroboam and Barak and of Samson, of Jephthah, and of David also, and Samuel, and of the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, and stopped the mouths of lions. So as we can see, Rahab is put right here with all our greats. So when you scoot down, go all the way down to, let me see, here we go. Verse, let's see, 39. It said, and these all, having obtained a good report through faith, receive not the promise. So those heroes got a good report with the Most High, or with the heavens. They got a good report. They just ain't got the promise yet because the kingdom ain't here. But it's letting them know that they report card or they kingdom credit is real good. They more than like they in there. You know what I'm saying? So here we go, verse 40. God having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. So yeah, Rahab gonna be in the kingdom according to the scriptures. Can't get around it. She's not an Israelite. So I don't see what you want me to get into about that. I mean, that is what that is.
It's all good. I just, you know, what is made perfect.
Yeah, I know what you want, man.
What is made perfect?
Hey, what the book say?
What is made perfect?
You silly, man. But
what is made perfect?
It is what it is, man. But at the end of the day,
here goes somebody else that don't want to answer the question. What is made perfect? I still gotta ask that question.
Now, if you want to get into what's made perfect, now that's you finna open up a whole nother, because I can get straight off into that now. That's going into the God thing, becoming that, you know, getting in the kingdom, you know what I'm saying? Getting part of the inheritance. That's all that. You would be in the godly.
Yeah, but that's just First Thessalonians 4 and what?
Like 17.
Something like that. That's being
yeah, somewhere.
they without us, the dead should rise first, and they gonna get theirs first in the sense that they gonna be up there. Then we gonna meet them in the cloud, and then we all gonna get perfection at the same time. We all gonna become celestial beings.
Yeah.
The second death cannot touch us. That's if we make that first resurrection.
Yeah, because remember it say that you know, what we got now is corruptible bodies, but you got to get that which is uncorruptible. So that's that celestial being thing that Paul was talking about. We'd be like angels, but greater.
Yeah, man. It's just, you know, just another person bearing witness, 2-3 miles, and let it establish a fact, man.
Man, you be on some BS, man.
And
You finna get me called names by both sides, the Christians and the Hebrews. I don't care. I mean, truth is truth, but you gonna stop being slick.
Persecution is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It adds to your testimony.
Yeah, all right. Not on your behalf, Jake.
It adds to the testimony. So, you know, the law.
This was a good
soul.
This was definitely a good build, though, brother. And I think it's a lot of people watching because I put it on my wall and I put it in my group. So it should be a nice
watching. You know, it's 15 watching. Now 20 something there a little bit. But you know, people will come back and watching this stuff, probably bounce off of the other show, and then to see, you know, us talk about the history of things or whatever. But it's all good. It's stuff for edification, whoever want it, whenever they want it. And as long as this channel is alive, they can, you know, get edification on the subject by going back and watching it. So, you know, it never falls on deaf ears.
I'm letting you know I'm probably gonna pull it too, put it on Hebrews in the Hood.
It don't matter, man. People be speeding up the videos they take. Look, if you take a video from over here, I don't care. All you doing is helping promote Israel Doctrine's channel and what we doing. So I don't care if anybody take my video. You do whatever you want with it. I just ask that you don't take my image and distort it. Now that right there is kind of bogus.
Yeah, I heard. You know, young Pharaoh and Young Pharaoh and Brother Sanchez had a debate the night for last night, man. I was watching it, man. Some porn came. It was crazy. But Brother Sanchez salty because when Pharaoh went and put it on his channel, he cut out damn near all Sanchez parts. But I had to tell like Sanchez, man, dude, you talk too long too though. But he did slant it and made it look like he was just killing them though.
Yeah, but at the same time, he could have just cut out the image part and put a blank thing there and not cut off the audio. The audio ain't got no porn in it, I guess. But it is you got to watch it out here with people in porn and stuff because, you know, the incident with me, somebody trying to send me some stuff and set me up, called the sheriff on me. It's people out here playing with this type of stuff in society now over the internet, trying to get people in trouble and different stuff. So be careful of what you open up, what people send you, and who you invite on your YouTube channels, because people will do that. It's also people trying to, you know, what you call it,
sabotage.
When they break into your stuff, cyber, like, what is it?
What, sabotage?
No. When they break into your YouTube or your Facebook, hack into your pages and stuff and set you up. This is COINTELPRO operative type stuff too. That they'll clone your pages and send stuff to people, and then people will be saying that was you. So you got to watch the games that people play online, because we're not out in the street doing crimes right now. We're actually online doing stuff. So they got to make what we do on the internet criminal.
Right.
They can still lock us up. That's why you got the BIE movement and everything else. Safe.
All right, man.
Misery Love Company.
Well, next time you invite me on here, man, I think we need to talk about that. I'll be willing to come on here and talk about this this whole, you know, social media extreme identity, BIE / co-op people you got running around trying to cause confusion on you know, on social media.
I mean, before the end of the month, which is a couple days away, I got to get it in on that again. We got something coming up with fake news and stuff. So there's a couple things on it, trying to get to Florida next month and do something. But then we'll figure it out.
All right, everybody watching, man. Subscribe. Hebrews in the Hood, man. You know, Walls of Jericho, my Facebook group. Hebrews in the Hood, my YouTube channel. Shalom, shalom, grace and peace.
All
right, peace.